I've looked at 288 landing pages, and believe you me, I've seen some really good ones and I've seen some terrible ones. And in this video, I basically want to describe the things that you can do to improve your landing page and basically the things that you can do to improve your conversion rate. Now, here's the best thing. Even a small increase in conversion rate can massively affect your business. Like your revenue could go up by 10 or 20% just by increasing your conversion rate just by 1.5%. So this stuff is important, and everything I'm about to list with you is something you can do today. You don't need a web developer or web designer or a technical person. These are really simple tweaks that you can apply to your landing page and you can start seeing improvements. Now, for those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Devon Thomas, and for the past 8 years, I've helped business owners running their own ads get better results with Google Ads. And usually when I start consulting with a client or I start talking to a client, the first thing I do, instead of looking at their ads or their ad settings, is I go over to their landing page and I make sure that their landing page is up to scratch, because you could have the best Google Ads campaign in the world, but if you're sending that traffic to a landing page that's not set up properly, you're gonna lose money all the time, right? So that's what today's episode is about. And if you want to go in deeper with me, I've also got a webinar that's coming up. It's going to be my masterclass where I show you the 3 secrets of high converting ad campaigns. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be live. You get to ask me questions and you get to see small little tweaks that'll make a big difference to your ads. So if you're excited about that, like I am, I want you to check out the link in the description below. All right, so let's get into this episode. Let's talk about why it's so difficult to get landing pages right, and then we're going to dive into the 3 things. So I think all of us, when we started off with websites. Somebody probably told us it was a good idea to have a landing page, and so what happens is you kind of throw it together, right? You sit down one night when you're sick and tired and you just say, okay, put in a couple of words, throw in a couple of pictures, make sure the form is good, make sure that everything is working, and add a couple of reviews, and then you hope and pray that it works. And in most cases, entrepreneurs find that when they implement landing pages and they do it by themselves, it actually doesn't work that well. Doesn't convert much more than your website would. And you're left thinking to yourself, man, what was the point of this? All these digital marketers are telling me to do this, but it's not really making amazing results in my ad account. What's going on? So the first thing I want to do is I want to just go straight into point number 1 is you need to have a clear message, right? So whenever you're building a landing page, you need to understand something. Whoever's coming onto your landing page has no idea whether you are the right or wrong business to work with, okay? And so what I want to do is I want you to get your first heading, your first title right, because that determines the whole page. You can lose them just with one wrong sentence when you're starting off your landing page. That's how powerful the first sentence is on your landing page, okay? So you want to follow this very simple formula. Formula is, I do this and I can do it in this space of time for you. That's it. You don't have to be clever. You don't want to be too complicated or complex. You want to just state it in as little wording as possible, plain English, what you do and how fast you can do it for that person. So for example, if you were a car wash, you could say something like, get your car clean in less than an hour. Okay? Very simple, very plain. Notice I'm not saying, hey, we'll detail your car and do your rims and we'll make sure we do a full body wash and we've got this new pneumatic hose that's going to spray your engine and we'll get this done for you and we'll have your car looking like new within 30 minutes. We don't want to do that. you want to use as plain English as possible. Remember, this is the first sentence of your landing page. And I think this is what a lot of people get wrong. Why? Because it's hard when you're a business owner, man. Paying for ads, people clicking on your ads, you're assuming that if somebody clicks on your ad, they're ready to go. So what you want to do is you want to give them as much information as possible, which is the natural reaction to take. But the problem is if you give them too much information, right? If you overwhelm them with information, they're going to leave. And this is a problem. So what you want to do is you want to just simply describe what it is that you do. Now you can go into more detail further on down in the page. That's what the rest of your landing page is for. But just for starters, just what you do and how soon you can do it for them. So for example, if you are a wedding planner, you can say like, plan your perfect wedding in less than 2 weeks. You see what I'm saying? Very easy. Or for example, with one of our products, the Google Ads Setup Cheat Sheet, we write, set up your Google Ads like a pro in less than 5 minutes. Now, there's a very specific reason why we want to include that time element, right? Now, some of you might be saying, yeah, but what if it takes longer to wash my car? Or what if I don't set up my ad in 5 minutes? It's not the fact that they have to do that in that stipulated amount of time. It's that the human mind is always measuring the time investment that goes into something, right? I'll give you an example. You come home after a long day at work, you're tired, you sit down, you have dinner, and then you think to yourself, should I watch Netflix, watch a movie, or should I watch YouTube? And then you start thinking to yourself, man, Netflix is going to be a 2-hour investment of my time. 2 hours. You haven't chosen a movie yet, but you know if you watch a movie or you watch your favorite series, you're probably going to watch 2 episodes and it's probably going to take 2 hours of your life. And then you tell yourself, maybe I should just watch a YouTube video. How many of you, tell me in the comment section, how many of you have felt this way? Like you measure up in your mind and almost always you end up on YouTube. Why? Because you know that a YouTube video is like 10 minutes long. So there's no anxiety because you're going to be spending all of that time doing it, right? And so the same applies to digital marketing. When I tell somebody that we can have their car clean in less than an hour, somebody looks at that and goes, okay, that sounds reasonable. They don't actually think literally, oh, but then how are you going to have time to do this and this and this? Most people understand that if they add more, like if I go to clean my car and I say, hey, do the carpets as well, and then do this and then do this, most people understand that the more they ask of you, the bigger the time requirement is going to be for you to basically give them what they need. See how that works? But all we want to do is we want to do it in a short as possible time span to make them understand that we can actually do this and we're very good at what you do. We can do this in a real short period of time. Okay? So what you do and how long it takes to do it for the client. That's the first thing. The second thing that we want to look at is we want to be sure that there's no visual clutter on the website itself, especially above the fold. Now, when I say above the fold, that's just a technical term for the top of the page before they scroll down. So if somebody clicks on your ads, the first part of the screen that they see, that's usually called above the fold. Now, there's a couple of things that you want to make sure of. Number one, don't put too many buttons on top, right? Don't put too many options on top. You want to lead with one product or one service, and you want to say, hey, if you want to contact us, we can do this one service for you really well, and this is what you click to take action. Now, you can embed a form in here as well. I'm going to get to forms towards the end of this episode, but the one thing I want you to know is that you really don't want to clutter the visuals, okay? So one beautiful picture with the ideal outcome. So for example, if it's a car wash, one beautiful shiny car above the fold is more than fine. If you paint houses, one beautifully painted house above the fold is more than fine. We get into a lot of trouble when we try and put too much there, because naturally entrepreneurs want to show off all the services that they can do. So what happens? You end up just stacking the top of your website with a whole bunch of pictures and a whole bunch of pages, and it ends up, well, not pictures, but a whole bunch of pictures and a whole bunch of pages, but it ends up not really working out for you. So we don't want visual clutter. We want to make sure that when they come on, there is one simple action to take. Do you want to clean your car in under an hour? If so, click here to book now. You see what I'm doing over there? I'm giving them one simple action to take. The next thing that you want to make sure is that you're presenting one clear offer. Now, I have said one clear offer, but let's just go over why I'm saying you should only have one thing. Because somebody might say, hey, but Devon, if somebody's clicking on my car wash ad, then I can tell them I do car detailing. I can tell them I do their rims for them. I can tell them that I do carpet cleaning. I can tell them that I do all of this stuff for them. So why are you telling me only to have one clear offer? The reason why I say one clear offer is because if you think about it, have you ever heard of this thing called the paradox of choice? The paradox of choice basically says the more options you give someone, the longer they'll take to make a decision, and the more likelihood there'll be of them not making a decision. This has happened to all of us, and I'm going to use Netflix as an example again. When you go onto Netflix, have you ever noticed this, that you go onto Netflix and you can't decide what to watch because there's just too much options? You can't decide if you want the series, you can't decide if you want the crime drama, you can't decide if you want to watch a movie, you can't decide if you want to watch a documentary, because there are just too many options. The same thing happens when you clutter the above the fold section of your landing page. The person was just looking to have their car cleaned, and now you're bombarding them with all of these extra options, and they don't know if they want them or not, but they do know they want their car clean. So you end up losing them because you end up offering them too much, right? Too much mental overload. So what you want to do is you want to remove that whole paradox of choice away, and you just want to have one simple thing. This does not mean that when the person books for the car wash, they are not going to buy the detailing service and they're not going to buy all of the other great stuff that you have to offer. They will buy it, but those things need you to sell to the client, right? So when I bring my car, you can tell me that you can detail my car. You can tell me that you do my carpets. You can tell me all of that other cool, fancy stuff. But the most important thing is to actually have the person book in the first place so they can have your product or your service. And even for consulting and even for advanced type of things, the most important thing is to get the lead. Business owners forget this so often. I have so many talks with business owners and students, and they say to me, hey, but I should really put this, and I also do this, and I also do this, and they should really know about this. And I tell them, are you going to tell them about it, or is your landing page going to tell them about it? Because I can guarantee if you tell them about it, you're going to have more passion, more enthusiasm, and you're going to explain to them exactly why the solution is perfect for them versus a generic landing page. I had one gentleman who had a safari business, and he said to me he was very concerned because on his landing page, we only talked about the fact that people could rent 4x4s and go on a 4x4 safari. We didn't talk about the fact that they could go to Mount Kilimanjaro and hang gliding and this and that and that. And I said to him, at the end of the day, the job of the landing page is to get the lead. Your job is to upsell the person once you get the lead. So if you go into McDonald's, you might go in just because you want a cheeseburger. McDonald's job is to upsell you on the fries, the milkshake, the ice cream. That's McDonald's job. But with marketing, you want to make sure that they're only coming in for one thing first, and then you can sell them whatever it is that you want. So I always want you to keep that in mind. Just because it's not on your landing page doesn't mean you never get to sell it. It means it's something that you can sell as an upsell or after you've received the lead. We've even got some funnels in our website where I'm selling them a $10 setup cheat sheet. If you want, you can get it down below. But it's basically all my Google Ads settings in a simple PDF they can follow. When they purchase that, they get an upsell that says, oh, would you like our conversion tracking class, right? Which is $50. And they say, hey, I'm paying for the setup cheat sheet. I might as well get the conversion tracking class. And as soon as they buy the conversion tracking class, we say, hey, would you be interested in maybe an hour of one-on-one coaching with me? And they'll say, well, I've got the setup cheat sheet. I've got the conversion tracking. But you know what? I'd really like to find out from Devon if I'm following the right ad strategy. And so what ends up is the person ends up spending more than $200 with us, but I start off with just a $10 product, right? So your one product or your one service that you're advertising with the landing page, that's just the gate to get them in the door. And if you really want, you can have a landing page for each service and a separate ad campaign for each service as well. That's what I advise most of my students to do. But do not make the mistake of taking 3 or 4 or 5 services, sticking them on a landing page and thinking you're going to be doing your conversion rates a favor. It never works and it always ends up badly. So if I had to broadly describe the first few things that you do with your landing page is you want to make sure that your message is super clear. So what that means is you want to make sure that you have an impactful headline, what you do and how long it takes to deliver for the client. Number 2, you want to make sure that you're not visually overwhelming or overstimulating them. No visual clutter. And the last thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have one clear offer. All right. So after that is done, we need to talk about the second mistake that I see a lot of people do. Because some people have these beautiful, man, the landing pages are perfect. The pictures are perfect. Everything looks good, but there's zero trust building elements. What is a trust building element? It's basically something that you put onto your landing page that gets somebody to say, I think I should work with this company because I see based on what is here that they are trustworthy. Now, this is another big mistake that a lot of business owners make is we think that people should trust us because we are in business. But we forget how many untrustworthy businesses are on the internet as well. So some of these companies, man, they do such shady stuff. Like I'm going to use Netflix as an example. Since I've been talking about Netflix, I might as well continue. But I'm on the best Netflix plan, the one that you get to see your movies and your series in 4K. For those of you who don't know, 4K is like 4 times high definition. It's really great picture quality. But the problem is this. I've paid Netflix, and when I go and actually log in and I want to watch the movie or the series that I'm watching, then all of a sudden they show it to me in HD. And for those of you who don't know, HD is like 4 times less quality than 4K. So I'm paying for a 4K service, but now they're showing it to me in HD. So obviously I troubleshoot and then they tell me it's my internet connection. And I know it's not my internet connection because I've got a 1000 meg line and I know that everything is sorted on my side, but it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. And so what happens is I don't trust streaming services anymore. If this has happened to you, let me know down in the comments below. But I don't trust streaming services anymore because it feels like I'm paying for something that I'm not really going to get. You're telling me I'm paying for 4K, but then you don't tell me about all this extra stuff and the fact that I might not actually get the 4K. And because people in 2025 are having bad experiences with most of the companies that they encounter online, it means they're going to scrutinize your company more than you think. So you need social proof, you need consistency, you need authority builders, and you also need to reduce risk. Okay. Now, social proof, that's the easy one. Make sure you have at least 3 or 4 reviews on your website or on your landing page that show that you are legit and you do actually help people and you basically do what you say that you do. Okay. That's a no-brainer. And if you don't have reviews, find some customers that you've worked with before and just request a review. I've got this really cool software. It's called Senja. I'll link it down in the description below, or just comment Senja and then I'll send you a link. But it's super cool software. It basically asks for the review for you. I've actually did a whole YouTube video about it as well. Let me know if you want to see that. But basically, you want to make sure that you have some reviews. And I don't care if you're running an ad for the most beautiful, brilliant product that was ever existed. It's a complete no-brainer for the person. I still need you to put some reviews there, because there's going to be a few people that say, hey, I'm not sure if this is the right service or product for me, and I'm not sure if it does what these people says it does. Okay? That's just simple. So you want to make sure that that is done. The second thing you want to do is just below the fold, you want to put some trust icons, some trust badges, some things that build your authority. So for example, if your business was featured in Forbes 30 Under 30, put it there, put it underneath the fold. If you've got some accreditation, put it underneath the fold. If you work with a really big business that everybody knows, put it underneath the fold. If you've been featured on CNN, or they did a news article about you, or the Washington Post wrote something about you, put it just below the fold. Why? Somebody's going to come onto the page not trusting you. They're going to see that and go, oh, because these big credible institutions trust this person, I now trust this person as well, right? So you want to make sure that you have those in place. Now, obviously, not every single business has been featured in Forbes 30 Under 30. So if you don't have anything, then you got to double up on your reviews. Make sure that instead of having just 3 or 4 reviews, have 20, have 30 reviews. And that's going to still build that trust and authority, so somebody can see that you're good at what you do. Another thing that I want you to do is I want you to de-risk somebody converting on your website. And this is how you de-risk it in a really good way. You want to take all the risk away from the person. Is you want to have before and after photos, right? If you're a painter, somebody who paints houses for a living, you want to show this is a house before we painted it, and this is what the house looked like after we painted it. Or this is the office before we painted it, and this is what the office looks like after we painted it. When you do that, you build expertise and credibility in the mind of somebody who's clicked on your ads, because they look at it and go, wow, look at these beautiful results that they got for that person. I want that for me as well. So by doing that, you're actually showing that you're an expert and showing off your work at the same time and getting a new client at the same time. How cool is that? So it's like 3 for the price of 1. Right? So what we want to do with all of these things is we want to make sure that we're building trust. If you're a personal trainer, have somebody being overweight before, and then show how you took them on the journey and how you got them looking sexy for summer, right? Before picture and after picture. And if you keep on doing this, you'll start to notice really, really big boosts and big jumps in your conversion rates. We have one course, it's my Google Ads course. It's made me over $32,000, I think, at the time of recording this video. And hey, there's Udemy courses that sell for like $50 on Google Ads. I'm not forcing anyone to buy my course. My course is about $1,000. But every single time somebody comes onto my page, I say, these were the results that my students were getting before they bought my course. And these are the results that they're getting right now. So it shows one screenshot with all the clicks they got and no conversions whatsoever. I'm sure some of you are seeing the same in your Google Ads accounts right now. And then it shows an account with a whole lot of conversions, a whole lot of leads. And these are legit leads that my students got for themselves. And all I ask them to do is just send me screenshots. Or all I ask them to do is, can I go into your account and take a couple of screenshots so I can post it and show other people that they can get these results as well. And the best thing about it is now I don't have to work as hard, because anybody coming onto that landing page, they see the before and after and they say, I want that for me, right? What you can also do is you can offer some guarantees. I don't really like guarantees, but you can do like a money back guarantee, or you can put some assurities on there. But these days, I think pretty much everyone's offering a money back guarantee or a guarantee. So it kind of loses its unique selling point. It's always good to have, but it's not something that's really going to swing the odds in your favor unless it's like a very, very big financial commitment. Then it could be a good thing, right? So in other words, the broad thing that I want you to get away from section 2 is some of the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to the landing page is they just don't build trust first. You have to have a clear message, then you have to build trust. And only if you do those two things, then what I'm about to share with you next is going to work. But if you don't have a clear message and you don't build trust, this next part is just not going to work for you, okay? So you want to make sure that you have those two things first. The third thing that we want to do is we want to get rid of conversion roadblocks, okay? So what is a conversion roadblock? It's the simple things stopping people from getting in contact with you, okay? Number one, from all the 288 landing pages I've seen, number one is going to be forms. Please stop giving people 20 questions or 25 questions on a questionnaire before they work with you. It's really bad. And it turns a lot of people off of working with you. And yes, I understand that you want to make sure that the customer's a right fit and you want to make sure that they're serious, but there are certain questions that you can ask to get that, right? So if you ask questions like name, email, phone number, website, I've got no problem with that. If you're asking what budget the person has, I've got no problem with that. But when you start asking specific things, like for example, in the car wash, do you want us to do your rims? Do you think we should do your carpets as well? The customer, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking they want their car clean. So you're adding all of these extra questions, which then adds friction to the process, which then means you don't get the conversion because the person is going to say, this is taking too long. I've got better uses for my time. I'm just not going to submit anything. So what you want to do is you want to slow it down and you want to say, what is the minimum? What is the absolute minimum that I need to ask this person to get a lead? And then I can ask them all that other stuff on the other side. Now, some of you might say here, but Devon, in order for me to quote the customer correctly, I'm going to have to know all of these things up front. Well, what if you don't have a customer? What if you lose the customer because you're asking for too many things? You ever thought about that? What happens if 100 people come and you are going to get 100 leads, but because you need to know every single thing about the client, you lose all 100 people? That doesn't sound like a good deal to me. I would rather have you get 20 people and then clarify with those people what they want and what they don't want, and then go over the phone with them or email them or have some sort of human interaction with them, and then actually get leads and actually generate money in your business, versus you chasing everybody away because you feel the need to ask them 57 questions before you even talk to them, right? People need that human interaction. In fact, some of the best deals that I've done have just been off a free call. Somebody just booked a meeting with me. I asked 3 simple questions like, what is your big problem with Google Ads? What do you feel is holding you back? They jump on a call with me. We discuss. And then they give me a ton of money. Why? Because I made it very simple for them to get in touch with me. Right? Now, some of you might be course creators, some of you might be in the coaching space. That's slightly different because you want to know that the person's committed to your program, so you might have them go through a questionnaire. But if you're an electrician, a plumber, somebody who does painting, if you're a handyman, if you're a mechanic, you don't have to ask them all the diagnostic questions on the form, on the landing page. Please don't do that. That's a major roadblock, and that's something that I see very often. Another thing that I see is weak call to actions. Now, when I say call to actions, it's the buttons and it's the wording on the buttons for the landing page. So some buttons are like buy now, or get free quotation, or get a free estimate. That might have worked 5 or 10 years ago. It's not going to work now. You got to be a little bit smarter about how you position your product or your service. So when you say get free estimate or jump on a free call with us, it kind of scares them away because everybody in 2025 equates that to free call means you're going to put me on a call and you're going to put me under pressure to buy something. I don't want that. And so you want to be really smart about how you position the wording on your buttons. So for example, you'll notice if you go to some of our landing pages, I write fix my ads today or get started or start getting clients. I'm very intentional with what I write on my buttons because I know it's going to have a massive effect on my conversion rates. The less information you give when you just say free call or free this or free that, I don't know why, but business owners just love to write free on everything. You're actually turning them off. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is you want everything to look consistent across the board. Please don't go and use one logo, and we've seen this, one logo at the top of your website, and then by the time they get to the bottom of the landing page, there's a completely different logo. One phone number at the top of your website, by the time when they get to the bottom of the landing page, there's a completely different phone number, there's a completely different address. You want to make sure all the elements, all the colors, everything is consistent because once again, it's a big part of building trust. If I can't trust you or if a customer can't trust you to build your landing page properly, they're not going to trust you to build their house properly. If they see that your website is broken, they're going to associate that with the service that you give, whether it's true or not. Because I know business owners, they love to say, oh, I'm busy, I'll come back to that later. It does not matter. That is your first impression. And if you don't get that first impression right, you lose the customer, right? So those were my 3 big things. And just to recap, you want to have a clear message, right? You want to make sure that your headline is impactful and shows the transformation of what you do, how long it'll take. You want to make sure that you avoid visual clutter. You want to make sure that you have one clear offer, right? Just sell one thing. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure you build trust quickly with reviews, with things, authority badges, things that boost your authority and show your credibility. And the last thing is you want to avoid those conversion roadblocks. Don't make your forms too long and don't write just anything on your buttons. Make sure your button wording is super intentional, right? And if you enjoyed this, and if you want me to dive even deeper and show you all the places that you're losing sales, not only on your landing page, but also in your ad campaigns themselves, then I really want you to sign up for my masterclass. It's linked down below. It's completely free. It's a live masterclass. It's happening on the 1st of October. And I am super excited because, man, I am going to share what I've learned over these past 8 years, and I'm going to give you some great knowledge. It's stuff that I wish I had knew 8 years ago. I'd probably be a millionaire if I knew this stuff 8 years ago. But I'm sharing with you this now that I want you to get it because I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to go hunt for that knowledge. I want to put it all in one place and I want you to enjoy it. So let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Also, I want you to comment down below and tell me if any of what I mentioned sounds like you or if you've made those mistakes before. Also, if there's something I forgot to mention, let me know down below as well. And if you want to see another video where I talk about how to get your ads in order and how to write great ad copy, then I highly recommend you check out this video over here. I will see you on the next one. Peace.